Hello everyone, and welcome back to another session of Bloodborne PvP and another weapon showcase. This time I am using the Kos Parasite, which is, of course, yet another weapon added in the DLC of the game. Now guys, this weapon right here is very, very powerful. Despite being incredibly annoying to get certain things for it, meaning blood gems, is very well worth the effort if you have a build for it. So, getting started with the weapon. This weapon requires 20 arcane. Nothing else, no skill, no blood tinge, no strength, nothing but arcane. Only 20 arcane, not a big deal. It has an S scaling in arcane, no other scalings, so you're good in that department as well. Its physical base damage, or rather its arcane base damage, is 60. And that's about it for that. So for me, the attack rating with this weapon is around 270. Now, with that, you'll notice I'm doing a lot more damage than that at many points in the video. And that's because this weapon has an incredibly high damage multiplier on all of its attacks. So because of that, it's going to, be a bit deceiving with how much damage it deals compared to what you think it will deal. And that's not a bad problem to have. It could be the other way around, and then that would be a very, very bad problem to have, but I know a few weapons like that anyway, so it is what it is. Now, getting started with the first form, its R1s are some medium speed slashing R1s. They've got some good range to them, but they're nothing to really, write home about. The R2s are going to be similar in a way. They are medium speed as well. They're a wide slash, and there's no follow-up to those. The charged R2 is pretty good. It's got a 180-degree slash along your right side, starting from the back, going to your front. So it covers that entire half of your body, which is a good thing, especially if you unlock. You can just sort of aim that to where you need it to be. The backstep R1 in both forms is an acid spit, but the backstep R2 in its first form is an overhead slash, which is decent. The big thing with this weapon, though, comes with the second form and your transform attack to the second form, which is a double slash with a very, very wide hitbox. It covers pretty much 180 degrees in front of you, and it's got some good range to it as well. Dashing attacks with this weapon are something that a lot of people use very often, myself included, because they're hard to punish. The timing for punishing attacks with this weapon is very awkward, and it doesn't look, right when you shoot the person. You have to shoot them very early on in the attack animation, and that's hard to do. So your R1s in your secondary form are going to be alternating slashes, going right, left, with the third actually being a double slash, so it's right, left, and then double slash with your right and left, heading in towards the middle, similar to your transform attack. Your R2s are medium speed double slashes with good range and a wide hitbox, exactly like how it sounds. It's, one of the better attacks out there. There are no charged R2s, unfortunately. It would be nice if there were. They'd be extremely powerful, though, so I can see why they were not a thing. And you do have the benefit of having an L2 attack in this form as well. So your L2 is going to be the bread and butter of the weapon. A lot of people love that L2. A lot of people spam that L2, though. There's a time and place for it. You don't want to spam it. But that said, you honestly can get away with spamming it. It's so powerful, it's so difficult to stun people out of it, and it just does so much damage. It's really just a fantastic attack all around. So, as you guys have seen numerous times through the video, it's got massive amounts of damage. It hits multiple times. It's got a very large area of effect. It only uses 2 bullets, and I have been hit multiple times throughout this video already by someone trying to disrupt me in the middle of that attack. Nothing. They don't have anything on it. So really the only way you're going to get stunned out of that attack is first if they get you really early on in it, or if they have a very large weapon. Which, that said, this guy with his Kirk hammer probably could have used it in its second form and stunned me out of that attack. But he didn't, so it is what it is. So that's all I got as far as the basic info on the weapon is concerned. As far as the pros and cons of the weapon are concerned, of course you have amazing damage, especially with that L2. Other than that, you've got some really good range and wide hitboxes, and those will help out a ton. And your speed, despite not being the fastest weapon in the game, it is still pretty decent. It's about average, and with how difficult it is to stun on the majority of attacks and how awkward it is to disrupt the attacks with gunshots, it really is perfectly fine with the speed that it has. And the range, of course, if it was faster and had this range, that would be a problem balance-wise. Overall, I'd say it's a pretty well-designed weapon. It's got a lot of variety with its attacks as well, and that's something I'm a big fan of, as you guys know. One thing I didn't go over attack-wise is the transform attack from the second form back to the first. You throw slugs. It's like, whatever that's called. In Harry Potter, when What's-His-Face tries to curse What's-His-Face, and he starts vomiting slugs because the one backfired. You know what I mean? Eat slugs, Malfoy. That's what I'm talking about. Anyway, tangent aside. Basically, the pros of this weapon are very straightforward. It's nothing overly difficult to imagine. The cons of the weapon, though, it's kind of a pain to get the blood gems for it. This weapon uses a radial, crescent, and then radial blood gem in its standard version of the weapon, and it's really, honestly, not feasible to get crescent arcane blood gem. So what I did with mine, actually, in the whatever that area is called, Mensis, by the brain thing, when you knock it down, before you drop down to get the blood rock, there are all those blood gems and items you can pick up with the stuff on the ground. And with that, you find an 18% plus 18% arcane blood gem. It's a tier 1 and it can go into any slot. So if you don't really feel like farming for that one specific kind, go with that. If you have access to a chalice dungeon that you can buy things from within the dungeon from the messengers, you can actually buy the other versions of it, this weapon, and all of the DLC weapons right from there. So that said, going with, I believe it was an uncanny one, or was it lost? One of the two, I don't remember which. It's got a triangle slot instead of the crescent slot, and it's a lot easier to find blood gems for that, so that's something to keep in mind. Other than that, though, there are no other cons. I mean, the plunge attack does cause concussion since you fall on your head, but other than that, you know, take that as you want. It can be a pro or a con. It's up to you to decide that one. Either way, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, found it helpful in one way or another, and I will see you all next time.